All right, welcome to the Fast Track class for December for Blogging Your Passion University. Today we're going to talk about the topic of how to automate your social media posting. So I know many of you get frustrated with social media. It can be a drain for you. It can often feel like it is a time suck for you, and you can begin to get frustrated when you have all these other things you're trying to juggle, and then the social media posting becomes something that's always in the back of your mind. Like, you feel like it's a bucket that you fill up and then it pours right out, and then you fill it back up and it pours out. And maybe you've had that frustration. I know that I have, where it's constantly a feeling of, I need to do some social media posting. I need to be reaching out. I need to be promoting my post. I need to be engaging my audience on social media. And it becomes something that is entirely frustrating, and it's nagging always in the back of your mind. Well, today I'm hoping to be able to eliminate some of that with you. I'm going to show you some cool tools, and one in particular I've been using now for probably the last month, and absolutely love it. So I'm going to try to show you cost-effective ways. I'm going to try to show you tools that are a little bit more costly, but in my opinion, definitely worth it. And then I'll try to throw in some free tools in there as well. So I'm glad that you guys are here. Those that I see that have already showed up in the webinar area. If you guys have questions about social media, I'm going to try to get to some of those at the end of this presentation, so you can just go ahead and post them into the chat box and we'll get to them. And so, yeah, so let's jump in and let's talk about how we can automate it. Now, let me say this. Automation does not mean that you are not active in social media. I still think you need to have a plan to pop in there and be social with people. We can't just set something up and then never show up. But I'm going to show you how you can have a balanced approach to constantly providing helpful resources and promoting your own content, while at the same time you can automate some of that and take the pressure off. So I've got a presentation that I've got prepared for you guys. So we're going to jump over to that. And then we'll do some screen sharing of the actual tools that I like to use. So again, our topic is how to automate your social media posting. So let's jump into this and we'll move through this. So here's two questions that I want to kind of talk about, and maybe you've had these same questions. I know I have. The first question is, how do I keep up with posting on social media? It was just like I described earlier. It was like a bucket that had a hole in the bottom, where I would, a lot of the schedulers, a lot of the social media software that's out there, you can schedule stuff out, and I would schedule it out for a week, or I would have a virtual assistant schedule it out for a week, and then we'd have to fill up a bucket again, and then it would run out. And then sometimes it would run out and no one was paying attention to it. And then suddenly we're not continuing to post out there. We're not continuing to remind people of our own blog posts that we've written, our own videos we've created, our own podcasts that we've done. And also maybe we just aren't sharing helpful resources from other people as much as we want. And so that can be a real question, is how do I keep up with posting on social media? And then another real question that a lot of us have is, how do I drive traffic to my blog, to my podcast, to my videos using social media? And so today I'm hoping that we're going to be able to answer these questions today. I'm going to, again, one of the great benefits of being a part of this ongoing membership of Blogging Your Passion University is you're going to hear from me kind of behind the scenes, pull back the curtain, and I'm going to just share with you all the tools that I'm using, the latest tools that I'm using to drive more traffic to my blogs and add more people to my email list and let more people know about my courses, my products, and my services. And this is not anything that you guys can't start doing today. if you wanted to. So let's jump on to the next slide. So here's the first thing I want to talk about before I get into the logistics of showing you some of the tools. I want to share with you kind of an ideal social media posting schedule. So maybe you have the question of, what do I post? What's the best thing to post? What gets the most engagement? How can I make my Facebook page become more active? How could I grow a Twitter following? Those are real questions that a lot of you probably have. I know I have. And here's what I would say. And again, it doesn't have to be exact percentages, but this is what I would encourage you to do. First of all, what most people do that's the wrong thing is they just, especially when they first start using a social media scheduler, is they just fill it up with all of the links to their stuff. I mean, it's almost like all you ever hear about is come to my blog, come to my blog, come to my blog, come to my blog. And while you are providing helpful content and it's not as annoying, people can become weary of that if all they ever see you doing is pushing your blog post, pushing your products, and pushing your services. You're going to need to balance it out, because often what happens is we forget that the reason why people get on these social media sites is to be social. They want to be entertained. They want to be, they want to engage with people. They want to be empowered. They want to learn. And so we need to make sure that we don't forget that. And so what I would say is 50%, look at the first bullet on our slide, 50% of your posts should engage, entertain, and empower. Think quotes, questions, quote cards, maybe even point them to other blogs, resources. This has nothing to do with driving traffic to your blog whatsoever. This is 50% of it is just to try to churn up engagement. And I'm going to show you how powerful this can be, but I would encourage you to begin now the process of collecting quotes, collecting inspirational quotes, collecting quotes that maybe are related to your topic, what you're passionate about. Maybe use some of your own quotes from blog posts. You can go back over the old blog posts you've had, and you've probably had inspired moments of really great quotes that have come from yourself, and you could post those. Quote cards, and they're called a million different things, but a quote card, for what I call it, is one of those that has a background. It's actually an image quote, and it has a quote on top of it that people love to like and retweet and share. And all that's in doing, 50% of what you post should just create engagement on that social media site. So on Facebook, posting quotes is going to help people to hit like. They're going to share it. If they see an image quote, they're going to share it. If they see a question that's just an interesting question, they're going to comment. You know, do you like vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream? Which one's better? That's the kind of social engagement. And your questions don't even have to relate to your specific topic or niche all the time. It's just to create community, engage, entertain, and empower people. And people love to do that. And honestly, with Facebook, the way that they're holding back the ability for your post to show up to all the people that are on your Facebook fan page, all the people that have liked it, how you get more people to pay attention to it is by raising that engagement. And as you get people to share or like your quotes and the things that you're sharing, you're going to get more of your stuff is going to become noticed. And more people are going to end up liking your Facebook page just because because you shared a quote that was really good from Albert Einstein or from Van Gogh or from somebody else. So 50% of your post should, and I'm going to show you how I do this in just a minute, but they should engage, entertain, or empower. They have nothing at all to do with driving traffic to your website. And I told you this is totally different than the mindset of a lot of people. By the way, I see more people just joined us. Hey, Greg and Scotty and Vicky. Already said hey to Eric and Heather and all the other people that are here today. I appreciate you guys being here. And again, if you're here and you have questions, please ask about them in the chat box and we'll get to them in just a little bit. So 50% of your posts should engage, entertain, or empower. Think quotes, questions, or quote cards. Okay? 50% of the other 50% of your post should educate through your own content. So think link to your posts that drive traffic. So these could be blog posts, podcasts, could be videos. Here's like a little tip for Facebook. I actually learned from Pat Flynn, and that is if you will upload, if you do video, instead of just uploading to YouTube and then sharing it on Facebook, you'll actually get better engagement and higher engagement by uploading that video to Facebook and then also upload it to YouTube. So that just kind of came across my mind while I was thinking about video. But 50% of your post should educate, and those are links that drive traffic back to your blog. Those can be links to your blog post. It could be links to a product that you sell. Maybe you have a course, or maybe you sell a physical product, or maybe you sell a service. Then it's great to put things like that out there. And again, in a little bit here, I'm going to show you how to do that on Automate. It's just going to be automated and it's going to happen automatically. And I'll show you some examples in just a minute. So maybe you have some questions there, but I'm going to keep moving, but hopefully you get the point. 50% of your posts have nothing at all to do with a link driving traffic to your blog. Okay? And 50% of your posts can. Now, I've seen some people do 80% of engage, entertain, and empower, and only 20%. So you can mess with it. I don't have it exactly 50-50, but it helps me in my mind to at least think of it in two different buckets to make sure that I am definitely doing that. And I'll show you again with a schedule of what I'm doing. All right. Let's go on. So, and in order for us to put this into full automation, and by the way, those of you that showed up late, I made the important distinction between automating and still showing up and being social. I think it's important that you still remain social. When someone mentions you on Twitter, reply back and let that be you. Don't let that be a virtual assistant or somebody else, but you. If I reply back on Twitter or if I comment in Facebook, that's not a virtual assistant, that is me. And I think that's important. At the same time, I think it can be incredibly helpful for you to have an automated posting schedule that goes on and on and on and never stops. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So in order to have this thing automated, there's two steps that have to happen. Number one, you have to build an ever-growing library of helpful resources. Like I mentioned before, quotes, image quotes or quote cards, questions, links to your most popular post, maybe affiliate links if you have certain affiliate products that you recommend. Could be other people, other resources from other people, of blog posts you've done, interviews on podcasts you've done for other people. I mean, it could be on and on and on. But the idea is here that we want to build an ever-growing library of helpful resources that keeps continuing to get larger. And then number two, we want to set this to repeat over and over and over again. Now, we don't want it to repeat every week because that would be annoying. But what if you could set up a system to where you filled up a bucket of quotes for 3 months and 3 or 4 new quotes went out on your different social media outlets every day, and it never repeated itself until after 3 months or 6 months. It all depends on how big you grow the library. But that is a true set and forget type of automation that I'm going to show you. And after a while of doing this, you're going to be able to see which posts get the most engagement, which one gets the most shares. And you can get rid of ones that don't get shared or don't get engagement, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So you're probably wondering, okay, I get this, I understand it. 50% need to be just pure social engagement. 50% can be helpful resources of content that I've created, or products or services to drive traffic to my blog, or even opt-in incentives for building an email list. But how do I do that? Well, the tool that I want to talk to you about that I've been using, and I want to share with you 3 different tools. This one is the most expensive. There's no affiliate program, so I'm not an affiliate if you sign up. I'm just sharing this with you because it's a tool that I've really enjoyed. It's helped increase my engagement and my followers, and I plan to use it for time to come. Currently at this recording, I believe it's $49 a month, but to me, this will replace paying a virtual assistant or someone to schedule your social media, which can cost you a couple $100s a month once you get this set up the way that I'm going to show you. There is a free trial for 30 days. Once you sign up, you have to wait to get an invite because it is still a new software. But this is unlike any other social media scheduler that I've been able to find, because what it does is, as you continue to grow this library, think like quotes. As you build up these quotes, and let's say you have 100 quotes in there, it will recycle through those quotes, so you don't have to keep filling up the bucket. It literally puts it fixes the hole in your social media bucket to allow it to continue to go out there amongst your social media following. It's a really cool tool. So let's jump in and let's take a look at this. So allow me to find this. You can follow along with me if you want to check this out. You can actually just go to meetedgar.com. It's a funny name, but it's something that's memorable, and I'll put it into the chat. But you guys can check it out with me if you'd like. I'm actually going to log in to my account, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm using this tool. All right, so now that we're in this tool, let me walk you through a couple of these buttons and how I'm using them. Okay, so first of all, let me talk you through the accounts. So the accounts tab, so you can see which ones they're currently working with. They're basically working right now. Edgar's going to work with Facebook. So this is your personal Facebook profile if you wanted to use that. It's a Facebook. It also uses Facebook pages and also Facebook groups if you have any private groups that you are the moderator for. Also will connect to Twitter, LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn company page if you are taking advantage of that in some way. Right now, as you can see, I'm using it for Facebook, 2 of my Facebook pages, 2 of my LinkedIn accounts, and 2 of my Twitter accounts. Okay, so once you get your account set up and you get those set up, you're good to go. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're actually going to want to establish your categories. Now you can have this, it actually comes by default a certain number of categories, but you can change them if you don't want to use them, and you can edit them, you can delete them however you want. I'll explain what these are here in just a second. This is in BYE 2015. But let me move on down and show you some of these other ones. So I've got my blog post, and I'm still working on this, but you can see I've got 38 in there currently. These are promoting some of my very own blog posts, some of my more popular blog posts, so that they stay in the cycle. And the cool thing is when you begin to see people on Twitter or on Facebook comment about an article that you wrote a while ago, and it's probably because they saw the tweet or they saw the Facebook post from this tool. Promotional for me, and I am expanding this, but right now it is, and I'll show you what they look like in just a second, but it's largely most of the affiliate links from the reviews that I've done. I do, over time, I've done different reviews of products that I'm using, and so it's very much promotional in nature, and I've seen my affiliate earnings increase by sharing these on an ongoing basis with people. Questions is, like I was saying before, it's just asking random questions, and I'll show you some of those in just a minute. Quote cards are the image quotes that we're talking about. I've got 53 in there currently. Quotes, I've got up to 103 in there. I got all those because over time I've been saving quotes that I like. Whenever I read a book or whenever I see something on a blog post, I will save it into a Google Doc file in a spreadsheet. And so I had all those ready to go. And then by default, it comes with this use once. I haven't used this, but if you have things that you just want to be tweeted out there or Facebooked out there one time, maybe it's somebody else's content, you can actually put it and dump it into this bucket, and it will just talk about it one time and won't repeat. So see these as different buckets, and then you're able to do some scheduling that's going to help you. So next, let's look at the schedule. And again, if you're having some questions about these, let me know. But I'm going to give you an example of how I've got mine set up right now. Oh, and let me jump back because I want to explain this. You know, typically I don't have this BYE 2015, video 1, video 3, video 2. I'm actually an affiliate for a launch that's happening right now called Best Year Ever from Michael Hyatt. And he's opened it up to a few affiliates, and I'm one of the affiliates for this year-end goal setting course. And I'm actually going to be doing a webinar with Michael Hyatt next week. If any of you are interested in attending that, it'll be both of us on a webinar talking about goal setting. And so what I did was, as an affiliate, we have some already pre-written tweets to put out there, and I'll show you those in just a second. And those are affiliate links for me sharing his launch. So you can use this strategy if other people that you follow are doing some type of a launch and you want to be an affiliate of theirs, then you can use this strategy to constantly put out information to let people know that this is going on. So I've had good results from using that strategy so far. All right, so let's take a look at the schedule. And schedule is where you can actually set it up to go out however you want. Here's a very simplified schedule that I have right now for my Blogging Your Passion Facebook page. So basically I've set it at 9 o'clock. I want a quote card to go out. And I'm going to show you again what those look like in just a second. And basically right now, most of what I'm showing here are the quote cards plus a little bit of the affiliate links that are going out. If I show you a more detailed schedule, it would be my Twitter. So here's an example. Let's take today. Today's Wednesday. So, and I'll show you how this looks actually in my Twitter feed in just a second. So 9 o'clock, it took one of my 103 quotes and it posted it to Twitter for me. And it will do that at 9 o'clock on Wednesday for as long as I'm a member of this tool. Then 11 o'clock, it sent out a promotional link about this affiliate program that I'm a part of. At 12 o'clock is another promotional link. 1 o'clock is a quote card. 2 o'clock is a blog post. Then a promotional link. Questions, which I'm going to show you that in a second. And quotes again. So you can see it's a mixture. Again, it's not exactly 50-50 right now because I'm doing this promotion, which is just for the next week or two. but then I'll remove that out of it. So on a normal schedule, it would be a quote, a promotion, a quote card, a blog post, question, and a quote. Now, what you can do is you can add a time slot anytime you want. So by clicking on this, I can change this up real quickly, very easily. And you can actually even choose the category random. So if you don't want to be as strategic as I have been in thinking it through, you would just want to say, I just want to post something 5 times a day on Twitter and not have to worry about it ever again. Then you can just come in here, pick a time, pick random, and the software will actually just, one time it'll show a quote, another time it'll show a blog post, another time it'll show an image quote. And it'll do that over and over and over again so that you don't have to worry about that. I think I just saved it and put it on there. So I'm going to remove that because I didn't mean to do that. Okay. All right. So that's how the scheduler works. So now let me jump over to the library so we can actually see some of this in action. So if I have an idea for something that I want to add, I can just click on Add New Content, and then I can choose a category, and let's say a quote. And then I can put the quote, or I can choose, I want this to show up on both of my Twitter accounts. And then it'll show me how many characters I have left on the right-hand side. And as I type, that number goes down, to be or not to be. And then it's got a place to add an image, which is great for one of those image quotes. And then I can just hit Save Content. And that's how I can continue to build my library. So I'm going to cancel that because I actually am not going to put anything in there. But now over here to the left, you can see I have in my library all these different buckets that I was talking about earlier. So let's take a look at my blog post. So when I click on that, this is a growing library of my top blog posts that are going to go out there on a regular basis. What Milton Hershey taught me about strategy. Here's a free download, a 30-day guide to launch a mastermind group. What Walt Disney taught me about persistence. What tips do you have for creating on-demand focus? Here's what I do. Here's how to create a life you don't need to escape from. And these are all of my blog posts that I've written. How to capitalize on your aha moment. How to create guiding principles to design a life and work you love. Should you be in a mastermind group? Here's 3 powerful reasons you need to be in a mastermind group with the link. And I won't go into this, but you can actually, once you've used this tool for a while, you can click on stats and it'll show you whenever this tweet, whenever this Facebook post has gone out there, how many times has it been liked or shared? So you can get a feel for how it performs, which is really cool. So those are what my blog posts look like. Here's the promotional bucket. These are all affiliate links that go out once a day. So I often get asked what software I use to run my webinars. I've used them all and I've fallen in love with this one. Earlier this year, I left MailChimp and switched to GetResponse. So glad I did. And it goes to the blog post that I wrote about how I use GetResponse. One of my favorite blogging tools is this cool editorial and social media calendar. So you get the idea here. So those are promotional tweets. Here's the questions bucket. Now these, you can do a search for questions to ask on social media and you'll have a ton of them. And what I found actually is these are extremely, I've been getting a lot of interaction with people on Twitter with these. They love to reply and answer questions. So here's some examples. Would you rather have mind control or time control? Name one bold move that you made this year. What kind of books do you like to read? If you could spend the next year living anywhere in the world, where would you go? And as you notice, none of these have to do with blogging your passion or productivity, time management, and careers, like my other blog is talking about. These are questions that are just social in nature. What's one thing you cannot live without? And so as you see people respond back to them. And just by doing that, they're probably going to click on your profile. They're going to see what you're about. They're probably going to click over to your blog without you ever really talking about, or, hey, come to my blog, because you're just engaging people in a social way. And that's what these questions have a tendency to do. And I'll show you some examples in my own Twitter feed in just a minute. So that's questions. Here's quote cards. I love these. You can make these with canva.com. You can make these. If you just Google online quote software or online quote app, there's a lot of them out there now that will give you the background, the font, and you just plug in your own quotes. Or you can grab screenshots from others. But as you can see, these go out there, and it shows quotes with these images that go out there. And I just got lots and lots of them that go out there. And you can see I got a couple of pages of them here. Oh, one of my favorites is this one. Every time you feel yourself being pulled into other people's drama, repeat these words: not my circus, not my monkeys. I like that one. I'm curious on the stats, how this one's done. And look at this. On Twitter, it got 11 likes, which on Twitter is actually a favorite. And it got retweeted 11 times. And then on the Facebook page of Blogging Your Passion, it got liked 5 times. So you can see that's a good one. I'm going to keep that one into the rotation. So again, these just cycle through over and over and over again. And I think that's most of the ones I wanted to show you right now. So you say, okay, well, how do I know what the actual queue looks like? Well, there's actually a category here called queue. And this will show you, for example, this is what it's going to look like for me tomorrow. Let me narrow this down to Twitter. Okay, so here's what tomorrow looks like on Twitter, and this is all happening automatically. We've got this quote that goes out at 9 o'clock. At 11 o'clock is this affiliate promotion for Michael Hyatt's launch. At 12 o'clock is an affiliate link for a promotional tool, a social media tool that I use. Then there's this quote, image quote card. Then there's a post about a podcast episode. Then there is another promotional quote for the product launch. And again, this is a little bit heavier on the promotional side, but it's because this is only going on for the next couple of weeks with this launch. So that's why I did it. Here's a question that I am going to ask tomorrow. How often do you write by hand? Then another promotion, then another quote. So that's how it looks. So hopefully you can see that while there's different pages here, and this does take a little bit of time on the front end to kind of get set up, this is an effective tool that continue to grow. One thing that you can actually do is, here is a blog post I wrote today. One thing you can actually do is you can add the Chrome, if you use Chrome. It's in the top right-hand corner. It's probably hard to see on your screen, but there's actually a Chrome add-on or extension for Edgar. And when I click on it, hopefully this will show up for you guys. You can see that anytime I come across something, or maybe even my own blog post, this is a quick, fast way for me to add my blog post. My own blog post is just go from post to post to post to post and stick them all into my blog post category. And once I do that once, and I tell it which accounts that I want it to go out to, now it's going to do that over and over and over again for as long as I want. I can even choose the image that I want to show, which is the main image. And I'm good. I could add this to queue. I've already added this one, so I'm not going to do that. But I can also do this for, I can do it anytime. Like I can click this button if I just read an awesome quote, and I can just remove this text, and I can type in that quote, stick it in the quote category, and boom, it's done. Don't have to worry about it. So I really like that feature of being able to do that anytime I come across something. So that is pretty cool. All right, so let me show you now. We will take a look. I'm going to jump over into TweetDeck, and let's take a look. Hopefully you can see this okay. But this main category that I'm on right here that I'm highlighting, and make sure you guys can see it okay. This main category is my main place that I am active on Twitter is at John Milligan. So let me show you a mixture of my own stuff and the automation of this tool. So you can see 35 minutes ago, it said you cannot use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. That was one of my quotes inside the quote bucket. It happened automatically for me. If I slide over here to my mentions, you can see that when that went out, somebody retweeted that exact quote. So now their audience can see that quote. Here is another one from Edgar. Here is, what's your favorite restaurant and why? Just a simple from my bucket of questions. And if I go over here to mentions, all the way on the left side, and I scroll down, I can read these. I love Stone-Faced Dollies in Ottawa. They have amazing food at reasonable prices. Tied between two local places. On and on and on. So there's more. But that's pretty cool. And you can also see people over here that are favoriting and retweeting a lot of this that's going on too. So back over here to this main column. Here I am commenting, being active in social media about an hour ago. Here's one of my quote cards that went out. Here's a blog post. Here is a promotional tweet. And then here's one that I did just, this has nothing to do with Edgar, but I worked at Chick-fil-A this morning for breakfast, took a picture and tweeted that out. So you can see it's all a mixture here, but a lot of this is coming from Edgar, and I don't have to try to do all that stuff myself, which is really cool. So that's basically what I wanted to be able to show you, and hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let me jump back over. We jump back over here, and again, go back over to Edgar. And let me see if we got any questions. Looks like I'm not seeing any questions here. So two other tools that I want to mention, because this, again, this tool is a very awesome tool, but some of you might be saying, I don't have the $49 a month. Again, what I would say is if you're paying for somebody or you're thinking of paying for a virtual assistant to manage your social media or to post your social media, I would begin to think about this tool instead, because again, you're going to be able to set this up on autopilot and for a lot less every month. But if you are looking for some cheaper options, one that I love to still use from time to time, and I do this primarily for other people's content when I want to share it, is I use Buffer. Buffer actually has this really cool app that's free called Daily. So if you guys are currently using Buffer, I would encourage you to take your phone or take your iPad and do a search in the App Store for Daily by Buffer. In fact, let me see if I can just Google that. And show you what it does. This is great for sharing other people's content. So if you say, well, man, I don't want to do that too much. I don't want to tweet too much. Well, what you can do is in Buffer, you could just set it up to only tweet for you at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock every day. And so even if you fill it up with 10, 15, 20 posts, it will only go out at that pace. So you can actually, you don't have to have Edgar posting 8 to 10 times on Twitter and Buffer posting 4 times on Twitter and it being too much. Now, we'll say, because some of you might be wondering this right now, Twitter, think of it like a stream. It's like a river. And so when a tweet comes by, it just kind of floats right on by your followers. And I think there's some kind of a rule that I think it's like 7 to 15 minutes is the life of a tweet. So posting 10 to 12 times on Twitter is not as excessive as it might feel like, because your audience, depending if they're on Twitter or not, aren't seeing all those come in at once. So it's just something to keep in mind. Now, I've heard people say Facebook's different, but I've also found that there's some people who are using the strategy of posting tons of time on Facebook simply because 90% of it doesn't show up to your audience. I haven't gone that extreme yet, but I know some people are, it's their way of doing, getting their stuff in front of more people on Facebook. I don't know if it's always going to different people or not, but back to this app, Daily is actually produced by Buffer. And as you can see, basically what Buffer, this Daily app does is it offers up a bunch of interesting quotes, articles that people have written. And literally what you do is you sit there, you can do this first thing in the morning or whatever. And as it shows something, you can either hit the red X button, meaning I don't want to add that to my buffer, or you can hit the green button saying, oh, that's a cool topic. My audience would like this. Click the green button. You can even click the link, and inside the app, you can read the article first if you really want to proof it before you share it. But as you can see, you could just in a matter of a couple minutes, literally 2 minutes, you could add 10 new tweets or 10 new Facebook posts or 10 LinkedIn posts pretty quickly using Buffer along with this free Daily app. So again, Buffer allows you to have, I think, up to 10 tweets or 10 posts that are scheduled for the free version. If you want the paid version, you can go much higher. But for most of you, for me, I stopped using the paid version of Buffer since I'm using the Edgar software. So just want to share that tool with you. Another one, and you've heard me talk about this one before, is CoSchedule. Now, I still like to use CoSchedule, but I'm using it a little bit differently. I used to use my virtual assistant to go in there. She'd spend about an hour every week and schedule out all of my social media throughout the entire calendar. And she would do that each and every week. Now, what I do is much different. What I'm actually doing now, if I jump into, like, for example, the blog post I wrote today, if you scroll down to the bottom down here, CoSchedule has a plugin that it will show you what's being shared from your post. Again, this is from one that I published today. But it will also show you or allow you to create your own messages right inside the post. So you can see that's what I did. And so typically what I will do is I will click on new message. Of course, I can add it to Edgar so that it will repeat over and over again. But I can say, I want this to go out on Twitter. And here's what it'll look like when it goes out on Twitter. I can change, add different verbiage. And then I can say, I want this to go out 3 hours from now, or I want this to go out 1 day from now. So typically what I'll do is I'll have it go out right away. We're talking just new blog post. I'll have it go out right away. I will tell it to go out 3 hours from now. And I'm talking about Twitter. I will say 1 day from now, I'll do 3 days from now, I'll do 7 days from now, and then I'll do 30 days from now and 60 days from now. So you can see down here, those are all scheduled out. So that I think what I've learned is we don't promote enough our new post. We kind of put it out there and we'll maybe share it on social media one time, and then that's it. When we should be sharing that today, tomorrow, 3 days from now, 7 days from now, 30 days from now, 60 days from now, and then let Edgar do it into Affinity as it circles back around. So that is kind of how I still continue to use CoSchedule. Now I can also do LinkedIn and Google Plus as well. Okay. So I think that is primarily what I wanted to share, but I really just wanted to show this tool with you. And I'd encourage you again, if you go over to meetedgar.com and you sign up for an invite, it'll take a couple days, but I got my invite to sign up for a 30-day trial. And then after the 30 days, you do get charged $49 a month. And again, like I said earlier, I'm not an affiliate. They don't have an affiliate program for this. So I'm just sharing it with you guys because it's done wonders for me, and it's relieved stress with social media that constantly feels like you are filling in the bucket. So let me see if I've got some questions here. Heather said an amazing tool. Greg said, something to consider. Do you have a recommendation about starter days times to post to social media? Or better yet, tools that will let you when your audience is active? I'm looking for one for LinkedIn now. You know, I'm not sure about LinkedIn. I have found some blog posts of people who've done research who have posted some of that. If you were to Google best times to post on LinkedIn, you'll probably find some of those research articles. I will say there is a cool tool for Twitter. It's called, I can't even pronounce it, but it's called, I'm trying to remember how to spell it. I think it's Twiriad. Make sure I get this right. Yeah, so your screen share should see this. And it's free. You actually just log in with your Twitter account, and it'll tell you, it'll actually show you on a graph when, according to the people who are already following you, when the majority of your followers are online. And so that's what I used. What I noticed is, this is for me with Twitter, and I think I'm close to 70,000 followers on Twitter. What I saw with Twitter is that it jumps at 9 o'clock, and then it peaks at 3 o'clock, and then it begins to go down, and then it really drops off after about 5 o'clock. So high time for Twitter, and maybe you could use this as a rule of thumb, unless you wanted to log into this website, and I'll post this link over here in the chat box. But the highest times are between 12 and 3 o'clock for Twitter. I've also heard for Facebook, it is between like 1 to 3 o'clock. because I think people, especially those at work, and maybe you know this too if you're at work, the mornings you kind of tackling stuff, and then you eat lunch, and then the lulls begin. And people, maybe, I've seen a lot of meetings at work or in the morning, and so people get a little bit of free time in the afternoons, and so they're jumping on Facebook. I've heard that for Pinterest, the best times to post are like Saturday mornings. So those are a few that I know of. Eric says, do you have a favorite WordPress plugin that allows you to tweet a quote right from your blog? I use the one by CoSchedule that is called, I think it is called, can't remember if it's tweet to quote or quote to tweet. Click to tweet. I think this one is the one that I use, and what it does is it gives you a little Twitter icon inside your WordPress, and then what you can do is click on that, type in your quote, either it's your quote or maybe it's a quote that you've collected from somebody else. Click OK, and then it looks like this inside of your blog post, encouraging people to click here to tweet about it. And I've really seen a lot of high engagement. This is what it looks like inside. Well, actually, didn't mean to do that. This is what it looks like inside of the software, or this is what it looks like when you actually are looking at it on your blog. And it works great. I like it. And yeah, so that's basically that's the tool that I like to use for that. Hopefully that answers your question. Greg said Twilio type functionality, exactly, nice tool. Yeah, it's great for Twitter. It'll show you when your followers are online. I don't know if they have anything like that for LinkedIn or if that's even available, but works great. I have heard that you can look for Facebook fan pages. I've heard people say that you can look in your Facebook page insights to get that same kind of information. I've not done that, but you may want to try that out if you've got a Facebook fan page. So awesome. Well, we're pretty much coming to an end. I don't see any other questions. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Hopefully you become encouraged by the fact that you can get on top of the social media. You can grow your following. You can get more engagement. Maybe you've had an aha moment today, whether it has to do with quotes or questions or image quotes. And again, it takes a little bit of work to get this. I know for me, I dedicated a couple mornings to getting mine going. One more thing about Meet Edgar is if you were to collect a bunch of quotes and put them into a spreadsheet, like I mentioned before, they have a import function where you can actually upload a CSV. And basically you have two columns. The first column has the actual content. The second column is the category name. So for me, with my quotes, I had my quotes in the first column, and then the second column, I had the word quotes because that was my category. And then I was able to upload all 103 quotes that I had. So there are ways that you can save time using Edgar, and that's one of them is you can do that import function which is pretty cool. So that's all that I have today. This replay, if you want to see again my setup, or you want to see review how I have set mine up, in case you want to give the tool a whirl and give it a try, then this replay will be in the members area tomorrow. You can feel free to watch it, have yours set up exactly like mine if you'd like. Again, I showed you kind of my posting schedule. You can go with that, or you can go with your own. So yeah, hope this was helpful. Appreciate all those of you who were here today hanging out. And yeah, so in a couple weeks, we'll do a Q&A time where, again, I like to share some of my favorite resources that I'm using and answer your questions. It's a great time for you to engage with me, to ask any questions you have about blogging, or if you have questions related to your own blog that you want me to review, or insights, then be looking for the email. I believe it's on the 17th. And then in January, we're going to be getting ready and closer to launch the new 2.0 version of Blogging Your Passion. I'm working at writing the book and creating the new videos as we speak. And I'm real excited to be releasing this to you guys. And you'll be seeing some of that in the members area soon. So with that, you guys have a great evening, and we'll talk to you later.